I'm astrologer and life coach Penny Dix. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Welcome back if you're one of my regular visitors. And if this is your first visit, a very big welcome to you. I sincerely hope you like my style of astrology. I try and make it easy, understandable, and accessible to everyone. I think it's so important that it is put across in a way that is digestible for all, and that's my aim. And assuming you like what I do, I would love it if you'd subscribe. So today I'm giving you my in-depth look to the full blue moon. I'm not going to break into song. The full blue moon in Pisces, my oceans of emotions. So is this full moon going to be an ocean of emotion kind of full moon? Well, we'll have a look at that in a minute. First of all, just to let you know, it's kind of straddling the dates of the 30th and the 31st of August. It's actually, in Europe, it's actually the early hours of the morning on the 31st. So for most of you guys, it's on the 30th. So I also just want to mention that all your zodiac signs, because after I do this overview, are individually time-stamped in the description box. Remember to look at not only your sun sign, but also your rising sign. Some people like to check their moon sign out as well. I'm going to pay attention to my moon sign this time because my moon is in Pisces. So I'm going to pay attention to it. And they are all time-stamped. And remember, this gives you the life area that you can expect this energy to be at its kind of richest. So let's first look at the energy of Pisces and Virgo. That, of course, is where the sun is. So the sun currently in Virgo is in opposition to the moon and also to Saturn, our planet of boundaries, restrictions, timing, and it's also about constructive kind of emotional reasoning within this context. But I'll come to that in a minute. First of all, what do we know about Pisces? It's emotional, it's empathic, it's sensitive, it has no boundaries. That's why I call Pisces my oceans of emotions. Sometimes Pisces can get so overwhelmed by what they feel and what they experience. And you know, if you were a triple Pisces, sun, moon, rising, all in Pisces, gosh, what a challenging time you will have. But also, what an amazingly rich life you can live once you work through that and find your own inner boundaries to manage that boundary-less energy. So Pisces is the imagination. So it's actually, of course, quite creative. It's also highly spiritual. And of course, that brings in the elements of spirituality, psychic abilities, the intuition. So all of this, or these energies, reside within the sign of Pisces. The dark shadow side of Pisces can be an addictive personality or an addictive nature. So often people born under the sign of Pisces or with Pisces prominent in their charts may have addiction problems with alcohol, with drugs, with gambling. One day they've got loads of money, the next day they haven't. It can manifest in many ways. They can be addicted to love, to sex. So there's a whole gamut of emotions that come under this sign. So what does this mean in terms of this particular full moon? First of all, this is another super moon, which means it's actually very close in its orbit to our planet Earth. Now, when this happens, it puts a kind of tug, if you like, on the tides of the ocean, of the water, of the tectonic plates. And so we may see difficult weather conditions around this full moon in Pisces. And as it's a water sign, we may see flooding. We may see storms and hurricanes. And I know, because I'm recording this on the 20th of August, that there is a big storm forecast, a big hurricane forecast for the west coast of America. And I hope and pray that by the time you see this video, and by the time this full moon becomes full, that the worst of that will be over, and that it will not have caused too much destruction or devastation. So we may see extreme weather conditions building up to this full moon, which, as I say, is on the 30th and 31st of August. But what about a tsunami of spiritual awareness? Now, wouldn't that be cool? Because that would also be a wonderful kind of energy to invite in on a personal level. You just have to ask. Just say, hey, divine, hey, universe, whatever your word is, for the divine, for God, for the all of the all. Hey, wake me up. Show me the right way for me to go. Show me how to do what is best for me and for everyone. Show me the way. So that might be good usage of this energy to somehow counterbalance the kind of quite dramatic undertones, like a fierce current in the oceans of this Pisces energy that can allow things to get out of control. You know, it is a supermoon. It is close to the Earth. I think because we are made up of something like, and don't quote me, but it's something like 89% water. Someone will tell me in the comments. I'm not sure of the exact amount. I know there's that lovely meme where they talk about cucumbers are just human beings with anxiety, because it's like, well, of course you understand, because a cucumber is made of water, and it's just I've completely blown that joke, but never mind, you get the general gist of it. So let's think about the emotional edge to this full moon, because I think over these next couple of weeks before or leading up to this full moon, as I say, I'm recording this on the 20th, it probably won't be uploaded till about the 23rd, 24th, depending on the workload of my lovely Jerry. And at this point, mentioning Jerry, I need to bring in the chart. So at this point, Jerry will magically make the chart appear just above my finger, just like that. I love technology. Anyway, moving swiftly on. So basically, let's come back to this emotional side, because I do think this is going to be a particularly emotionally based energy for all of us. We may find ourselves caught in the overwhelm of emotion about whatever situations in our life are perhaps getting on top of us, that we're finding hard to deal with, that we are just challenged by currently. But what could help us in this overwhelm? Well, first of all, we've got to remember that the sun, our life giver, is in Virgo, clearly in opposition to this full moon. So the sun in Virgo shedding its light on this Pisces moon is reminding us about attention to the small things, attention to the details. You know I bring in a mythology quite a lot, and one of the tasks that Aphrodite sets Psyche when she goes down, when she has to go through this kind of period of through the wilderness before she gets to the underworld, where she just doesn't know how she's going to cope, is Aphrodite says, here's a whole load of wheat and chaff. You have got to separate the chaff from the wheat by morning. Well, Psyche, poor girl, poor love, absolutely just crumbles to the floor with her head in her hands going, how can I ever accomplish this impossible task? And she weeps and she cries. And you think of those times when we're just totally overwhelmed by what seems like a mountain of work, of impossible work that we have to get through, whether it's the laundry, whether it's the cleaning, whatever it is, it can be overwhelming at many times. So here we have Psyche on her knees in a crumpled heap, thinking, how do I get this sorted by morning? How do I sort out the wheat from the chaff? That's Virgo. Virgo has to work out how to sort out the wheat from the chaff. Well, as often happens, if we let go and let the divine take over, so Psyche has to kind of absolutely give it over, say, I have no idea how I can solve this. Please, somebody, anybody, show me the way. Well, what happens is ants appear. And most of the time, as you know, when ants appear, we're not terribly happy because they tend to be where we don't want them to be, especially in the kitchen. And I'll come to what that's about in a minute, but it's interesting because when ants come into my room, and I have quite a lot that come in from my balcony, and basically they're heading to the kitchen. They're not silly, but actually they're pretty cool. They don't go on the work surfaces. So I say, well, if you find any bits of food that are dropped on the floor, they're yours. So I just leave them to do what they're designed to do, which is kind of be these kind of lower ground level cleaners to clean up the mess. So I learned to live in harmony with them. And this, of course, is what Psyche is having to learn to do, to live in harmony with all the creatures of the world. And so the ants appear, and she gazes with amazement as they slowly sort out all the wheat from the chaff, so that by morning there's a pile of wheat and there's a pile of chaff. Aphrodite is not well pleased because she thought Psyche would fall at the first hurdle of the impossible tasks that she was going to set her for her to regain the love of her son Eros. But that's another story for another day. So if we use the analogy of having faith when we're in this overwhelm, when we have these awful situations where we just don't know how we are going to cope, we have to have faith that we will be shown the way. Now that brings me to, interestingly, Saturn. Now Saturn, our wonderful, big, fabulous, outer planet, outer boy, Saturn, retrograde in the sign of Pisces, is conjunct, all up close and personal, is conjunct this full moon. And so obviously also in opposition to the sun. So how's this play out? Well, I think Saturn, we could use that energy in a constructive way. I think that Saturn's energy of structure, of boundaries, of timekeeping, of discipline, of taking responsibility is what is needed within this emotional overwhelm of this particular full moon. So instead of seeing Saturn conjunct the moon as a difficult, challenging energy, we could actually see it as a constructive, helpful energy. Because Saturn is inviting, asking Pisces energy and the moon that is the feminine, that is almost in a sense psyche in this energy, to take responsibility, to show some discipline. Because if we're getting lost in the waters of Pisces and we have no way of containing that overwhelm, we will drown. And this is usually the point in overwhelm where some other part of our psyche, see, it's interesting, isn't it, that the soul is called psyche, kicks in and thinks, I see how I can solve this problem. Because often it's like you go to sleep and you think, I don't know what to do, I don't know what to do. Oh, I don't know what to do. And in the morning, if we've had a good sleep, the message is suddenly quite clear. Oh, okay, that's what I can do. That's how I can sort this. Because tiredness, of course, is impossible for us to work with. It makes it so difficult to think in a Saturnian way of structure, discipline, and taking responsibility. So is this a full moon about taking responsibility, about closure with certain situations in your life that really, using the Virgo energy, do not serve you any longer? So you need to think with this full moon in Pisces, what no longer is of service to me? What will I spoil if I hold on to it? What do I need to let go of willingly with love and blessings, to let it be free, to just be what it needs to be? You know, Neptune, that rules Pisces, is also retrograde in Pisces. And it's making a sextile to retrograde Pluto. Pluto, our planet of transformation, in Capricorn, that Saturn rules, the sign of boundaries and structure. So this is helpful. A sextile is always helpful. And so that maybe what Pluto is kind of urging Neptune to do is to just put some form and order into your dreams. So sometimes being earthed in emotion is the way that we can find a way through it. And if we wear our spirituality, and I saw a really funny meme on Facebook where it was sort of, well, you know, not being very kind to some spiritual people that wear loads of crystals, but I have nothing against wearing crystals, and I think crystals are beautiful. And yes, I think it's incredibly helpful to work with the energy of crystals. But this was kind of a meme that was showing when it goes over the top, so that the person had a massive geode of amethyst hanging on their forehead and just absolutely, you know, dangling with crystals. That's not taking responsibility for what Pisces energy is about. It's the 12th sign of the zodiac. So actually with this, you know, this is the grown-up sign. This is when we have ascended. This full moon can bring about that kind of transition from 3D to 4D to 5D. Do you want to wear your crystal on your forehead or embody the crystalline energy within? So it's just a thought. Now, the other interesting energy with this full moon, before I move on to your individual zodiac signs, is retrograde Uranus in Taurus is trining Pluto. So you've got this lovely, so Pluto is actually having quite an effect on this full moon. It's sextiling Neptune. It's trining Uranus. There is something here about how when things seem so terrible that we really don't see the way out, we really don't have the faith that things can change for the better. These are earth signs, Taurus and Capricorn. Uranus rules Aquarius and is an air planet. Pluto is a water planet because it rules Scorpio. This is about digging down to the very core of your being, and you become the creator. I'm seeing in this Uranus as that innovative, inventive, imaginative part of your soul that can create your future in harmony with the cosmos, and really by letting go of the things in your life that you know have served their purpose. They're not meant to be in your life anymore. And it's okay. It's okay. Well, I think it's time to move on to your individual signs. So I'm going to put this one away because otherwise I'll get terribly confused, and move on to your individual signs. So at this point, the chart will magically disappear. Voila! Ooh, practicing my French. Failed it miserably at school, but I can just about get by in a restaurant. A French restaurant, I mean. I can get by in a restaurant. I know how to use a knife and fork and stuff. And let me get on with your zodiac signs. Right, so, okay, here we go. Aries. Aries, of course, this is your 12th house. This is so much about you and the inner you. This is where you can feel quite restricted. This is where you get lost in the overwhelm of your emotions. Something is not crystallizing for you, Aries. Something is not clear yet. And the Virgo energy from the 6th house is asking you to just pay attention to your routine, your day-to-day activities. Be patient with this energy. You have Saturn in your 12th house. It's really asking you to be patient, because Aries likes to rush ahead and get it all done now and be finished with it. This full moon is saying you need to pay some attention to your soul, to your inner psyche. Maybe you have to let go a bit. Maybe your mind is getting in the way. Maybe you are getting in your way. So take a step back, Aries. See the bigger picture. You know, Pisces is about the numinous. It's almost about the universe. It's like the universe is so, we cannot comprehend the distances that we're talking about, the substances, the makeup of the universe. So be kind to yourself, Aries. Try and take a step back and see the bigger picture. And if something is leaving your life at the moment, know that it's because it no longer serves you. Let's move on to Taurus. Taurus, for you, this is your 11th house, which of course is where we can really try and see the bigger picture. This is where you can use your imagination to, in such a good way, in such a positive way, to co-create with that sun's energy in your 5th house, in Virgo, shedding light on the ideas and the projects that you've got that you want to give birth to. You have so many ideas. I think, Taurus, this full moon is about you taking a step back too and trying to streamline where your energies are best served. Think of Saturn here. Saturn is asking you to be disciplined with the overwhelm. So clear the way. Get rid of the stuff, the muddle. And that could be the muddle in your mind and your psyche. Move it out of the way. Get your feet grounded. And let go. And allow what is meant for you to come in, because it will come in much quicker if you stop trying to make it happen. Right, let's move on to Gemini. So Gemini, this is your 10th house. Now this is your career house, but it's also, and I always say this for those of you out there that are retired or not working or are stay-at-home mums or stay-at-home dads, there must be something in your life that if you had the opportunity to, you would put all of your energy and passion into. Gemini, you are a communicator. What do you like doing? What do you want to do? What do you need to let go of through this full moon energy to create the space for you to actually allow the new to come in? Allow what will serve you better. Use some of that Saturn discipline to see the bigger picture, so that even though Saturn contracts, it's asking you to see that bigger picture, to see through the sort of the mists and the lack of clarity that Neptune has perhaps been bringing to this part of your life. So, Gemini, time for some communication with your inner self to see what you need to let go of in you to allow yourself to streamline your talents, your creativity, and your passion. Let's move on to Cancer. So Cancer, it's your 9th house of higher education. This is the house of travel, long distance travel. What is it, Cancer, that you need to move beyond, move through and move beyond? What's holding you back? I feel as if there is something that is that has a lot of sort of detail in it, a lot of, it's almost like you're trapped in your Cancer crab shell. How do you break out of your Cancer crab shell? This full moon is asking you to see further, to see beyond what's going on in your locality, to see the bigger picture, to see what you can have, what you can give to you, Cancer. Saturn here is asking you or inviting you and saying, there's so much you can learn here about how to create the future that you want for yourself. There is a spiritual element to you, Cancer, that needs to wake up even more. I think this Pisces full moon is about clearing the kind of confusion that you've had about your own inner psyche and spirituality, and actually getting some clarity at last, and understanding more about who you are and where and what you want to be in life. So let's move on to Leo. Leo, this full moon is in your 8th house. The 8th house is about all manner of interesting things. It can be shared resources. It can be beginnings. It can be endings. It can be transformation. So what in your life, Leo, is this full moon asking you to let go of? Saturn is here. Saturn is kind of bringing up the rear, saying, did you not get the message yet? You have to let go of this, Leo. Leo, sometimes Leo is not very good at letting go of what was very good for a while, but it's time to move on, to let the new come in. Don't get caught in the emotional overwhelm with this full moon, Leo. Because Leo, you may find that how this manifests itself if you don't work with it as Saturn is asking you to work with it on an inner level, that your health starts to suffer. Because that comes in as a kind of, whether it's emotionally, you get, kind of health issues, or psychologically or physically, it comes in as a kind of an unnecessary diversion, so that your energy and attention is diverted to what's wrong with you physically or psychologically, rather than what is truly asking you to change. This is about your self-worth, Leo. Value yourself. Now let's move on to Virgo. Virgo, it's your 7th house, which of course is significant relationships. It can be business relationships. It can be love relationships. It can be your partner in crime. It can be the person that you hang out with all the time. Whoever that is in your life, this full moon is about that energy. Now, of course, Virgo, the sun is in your sign currently because it's your birthday season. So happy birthday, Virgo. If the full moon is falling on the 30th or 31st of August, then this full moon is having quite a significant effect and bringing certain changes that, if you've not already preempted them with close relationships, they will happen anyway. Saturn will make sure of that. Saturn will bring about an event to shift the energy so that whatever it is kind of moved. Something has to give, Virgo. Something has to move. Full moons in the 7th house can bring endings and beginnings and commitment. Now, it depends what's going on in your own life as to how that is going to resonate for you. But that is the kind of energy. Now, remember, with Saturn there, like I said to Leo, if you don't willingly make the changes that are necessary in close personal relationships, whether it's business, friendships, or, as I say, significant people in your life, Saturn will create events in your life or their life that make you both have to look at what's going on in this relationship. So preempt it and get there first. Now let's move on to Libra. Libra, this is in your 6th house. This is your day-to-day working routine. This is the part of your chart where you have to attend to the infinitesimal things that need to be done. This can be the part of the chart where we have issues with our pets and our furry animals. This can be the part of the chart where we have health issues. And bearing in mind, excuse me, what I was saying for Virgo, if you are not paying attention to what your body is crying out for you to do, that's through the courtesy of Saturn in this part of your chart, Saturn will create something a little bit more substantial to make you slow down. Because I don't think, Libra, that you're slowing down. I don't think you are seriously taking Saturn seriously in your 6th house. Libra, if you don't, this energy is going to overwhelm you. And it will seem like a kind of breaking down. Now, we don't want that to happen. So what you have to do is think, what decisions do I need to make my life a little bit easier at the moment? How am I serving myself? Am I not actually taking enough care of me and my personal health? if that is the case, make the necessary adjustments, then it doesn't have to be acted out in the world. Now let's move on to Scorpio. Scorpio, 5th house, the house of creativity, music, fun. You just don't know what to do. There's so much. You're spoilt for choice at the moment, Scorpio. So much going on. You could do this, you could do that, you could go there, you could go here. This is also, of course, Scorpio, the house of love affairs. What are you feeling particularly overwhelmed and confused about? Because I just wonder if there is a situation in your life that has you kind of at 6s and 7s. Saturn here is saying, what do I have to do to wake you up, Scorpio? This particular situation is not going to be a 7th house relationship. When, Scorpio, are you going to let go of this situation that does not serve you? It is holding you back and preventing the cosmos bringing for you what it's got waiting for you in the wings. There we go, Scorpio. So let's move on to Sagittarius. 4th house, home, family. Sagittarius, you are in a state at the moment of emotional overwhelm about how to get your house in order. Saturn has been niggling away at you for a while now, going, we ought to do this and we should sort that cupboard out and we need to do that. I mean, we need to sort out the fact that, cousin so-and-so isn't talking to cousin so-and-so. We need to get all these things somehow sorted out. There seems to be a general kind of, I'm going to use that word, sense of discombobulation in your home and family. And you need to get that into calmer, smoother waters. You know what I feel this full moon is for you, Sagittarius? I think you should actually take a break and go off on a short trip, a little holiday. I know the 4th house doesn't really represent that, but it just feels to me that that would be the best use of this energy, because it's clear that if you stay at home, you're just going to get overwhelmed by what really needs to be sorted out with at home. So you've got to cut yourself some slack, Sagittarius. And if you can't get off anywhere, go anywhere, just, visit a friend, anything. If you can't do that, then go within. Take the opportunity of this full moon to think about what you're really passionate about. Bring in that 10th house energy where the sun is, and just kind of ask yourself, where could I kind of get lost? What could I get lost in at the moment that would just get me through this energy? How can you be disciplined with your psyche to create an environment for yourself that would really help you navigate this full moon? So let's move on to Capricorn. Capricorn, 3rd house. This is, of course, the house of communication. Has it seemed a little bit kind of muddly of late? I mean, with Pisces here, it's not very Capricorn for you to have and cope with this energy in your 3rd house. But of course, your ruling planet Saturn is here. So Saturn is asking you to get your thoughts in order. This is about list making, Capricorn. This is about really sitting down and thinking, What do I need to address? What are the good points of my life at the moment? What are the things in my life that really don't serve me well? How can I get some balance into all of this? I really feel you need to get some order into your thinking. You need to breathe. You need to get in touch with that Saturnian energy, which is your ruling planet. Trouble is, it's retrograde. So it's kind of, it's like when the tide goes out, you need to wait for it to turn to kind of bring in some kind of fresh thought in this part of your chart. That will come, but not for a while. So you've got to kind of be in that kind of arid part of the sort of the beach, if you like, where the tide has completely rescinded and you're kind of stuck there with shellfish and other kind of sea creatures thinking, what do I do now? Oh, I'm a Capricorn. I get myself moving. I dig a hole. I make a little sand castle. I construct something to pass the time and help me to think clearly again about the best way to construct the way forward for me in my life. Let's move on to Aquarius. So Aquarius, your second house. This is the house of finance, self-worth, value, how you make your money. Aquarius, how are you with money? Do you have a lot and then nothing at all? Does it come in and then go out? I think with Neptune in this part of the chart at the moment, although it rules Pisces, I think it's been a little bit challenging for you, Aquarius, to kind of keep some sort of, to keep the waters calm in regard to your financial situation. Now, it's a full moon. Now, this could be reaping the reward of something. This could be something you've put a lot of effort into. Because we have Saturn here, which is about hard work. Saturn is conjunct this full moon. So this could actually be reaping the reward of something you've been working on for some time. This may involve joint finance, anything to do with other people's money, because the sun's up there in Virgo in that 8th house. So don't get caught in the overwhelm. Steer your ship and hold onto the rudder and don't lose faith, because once we get through this full moon energy, you are going to start reaping the reward of what you've already sown. Let's move on to Pisces, my oceans of emotions. My Pisces in your first house. This is, of course, your full moon. So how are you, Pisces? Are you overwhelmed by this energy? Sometimes I think when you have a full moon, even a new moon in your sign, you do get a little bit overwhelmed. Saturn here is really trying to be your best friend. Saturn is encouraging you to put some emotional boundaries in place, to not resort to or fall back into old habits which may be of an addictive nature, overeating, over drinking, anything of that nature, gambling. I don't have to list the list of addictions that we can all fall foul to. Now, Saturn is saying, I'm here. I'm here to help you. I'm here to help you with the overwhelm. I'm here to help you see, Pisces, that there is something in your life that belongs in the 7th house of significant partnerships and relationships that needs to change significantly. If you don't go with the flow that the energy is taking you, and you can feel it, you're intuitive, Pisces, you know what this is about. If you don't go with it willingly, you can't receive the benefits that come beyond the letting go. You know, there's a saying which is let go lightly, hold on. No, it's not actually. It's let go tightly. Got it wrong. Let go tightly, hold on lightly. If you really let go of something that's represented by that 7th house significant relationship part of the chart, just let it go. Let it go. You might be surprised how Saturn then is able to bring you a new beginning, to close that particular part of your life, to allow the new and the part that will serve you better to come in. So there we go, Pisces, my oceans of emotions. My arm, as you can see, is a lot better. Thank you all so much for all your well wishes. And thank you all. If anyone has watched the whole of this video, well done. Please let me know in the comment section what you think of the lighting, because I have been attempting to organise it, and I spent about an hour this morning repositioning, doing stuff. I've got some different lights. They've got kind of little kind of covers on them. And I've got rid of the ring lights, and so we shouldn't get any rings in my eyes anymore. I've actually got a lighting tech guy coming over in the beginning of September who's going to really help me set these things up properly, because I can't be in 2 places at once, so I can't position the lights and see what it looks like on the video. It's really quite difficult, but hopefully I've kind of made a better adjustment for today. So on that note, thank you so much, all of you, for joining me. Please remember to like, comment, subscribe, share, all those wonderful things. I'm going to be doing a live for the full moon in Pisces on the 30th. I will not be singing Blue Moon, because unless it's copyright free, I will find out if I can sing it on YouTube. And if so, you might get a line of it. Anyway, that's going to be on the 30th at 1800 Central European Time, 1700 British Summer Time, I'll get it right in a minute, midday Eastern Daylight Time, and Pacific Time, it's at 9 o'clock in the morning. Got it right. Thanks so much for joining me. I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.